The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and the guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated individuals, organizations, or sponsors. The content is provided for entertainment and informational purposes only, and should not be taken as professional advice. While we strive for accuracy, we make no representation or warranties about the completeness, reliability, or accuracy of the information discussed. Listeners are encouraged to verify facts and form their own opinions. The host and producers are not responsible for any errors, omissions, or outcomes related to the use of this content. By listening, you agree that the host and the production team will not be held liable for any actions you take or decisions you make based on the information presented. Thank you.
All right, so I didn't want to do this, man, but I guess I got to do this because, I don't think people really gonna realize what's going on. So so even the black conservatives are shook up right now. They looking around like this doesn't represent the party that I thought loved me. Man, them folks don't love you, bro. But you'll figure it out, know what I'm saying, fast enough. You'll figure it out fast enough. Meanwhile, Nick Fuentes, man. Nick Fuentes said, man, it's done for you blacks.
You are a DEI hire. You pander. You are a diversity hire. You are a DEI hire. You pander. You know, and she thinks she's some kind of boss bitch. Yeah, you're a bitch, but like you didn't get that way because you're a super smart boss. You got that way because you're super bitchy black token. Like it.
That's how he feel. And I ain't gonna lie, man. I watched the whole interview, man. This kid, Nick Fuentes, is 26 years old. I think we talked about him one time before when we was talking about Kanye's, he worked on Kanye's presidential campaign. I think he was the campaign manager, and then that's when Kanye started to like lose the support, especially his Jewish support. And then that's when he started to flip because he was running around with Nick Fuentes, and the Jews are saying that this is the new Hitler. And for whatever reason, he scares the Jewish community, but he excites the white community in America. And when you hear him talk about it, he ain't really lying. I ain't gonna say he doing too much lying. And the fact that he not really scared, like he never scared, he ain't doing too much lying. He's evil. And his type of evil is the type of evil that's gonna get the job done type of evil. He Mr. Burns type of evil. I realized that I thought that Donald Trump was an evil guy. Donald Trump is just not really that. He's charismatic, but he's not bright. You know? He's not smart, but he's not dumb. He's just corrupt. He's just moved by money. But a man like this, maybe J.D. Vance too, maybe Ron DeSantis somewhat, but Ron DeSantis is a choir boy compared to this young man right here. He is moved and motivated by blood, by domination. He wants to see an America first with his people at the forefront. He believes in the great white replacement. He uses the words like, he uses all the F words, the B words, the N words, the one I could say. And so since he says nigga, we got black people that's going to say, hey man, don't platform him. Don't talk about him. Ignore him. You know, do what you can to act like he doesn't exist. But I don't like that technique. I tend to learn from my opposition, tend to study my opposition. I don't say I admire my opposition, but if they move in the way that they're supposed to move and they making themselves a good op, then I respect them in ways that I should pay attention to what they got going on. I should watch when they speak. I should watch when they move. I should watch who they collaborate with. I should watch who they align with. I should watch when they laugh. I should watch when they cry. I should watch what makes them weak. I should watch what makes them strong. Pay attention to the ops in this administration era of the Trumps. I said that crazy, but in the Trump era, we got to pay attention to the other side. We have to have our scope on what the other side is doing, and we have to talk about it amongst ourselves so we can check the temperature of our community, and we can see who is in and who is out, and who want to be in over there, but who getting kicked out. We got to pay attention to these things. Because this, I'm gonna call him a boy, but he got more powerful than your average boy.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't, because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows. And everybody's sick of it, especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy. It is, and I don't doubt that he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's genuine. But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be fucking gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good fucking thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer.
Hello.
I mean, and that's what they like about him. That's what they like about him. Hell, that's what I like about him. For folks that said shit, oh, that's what I like about my racists. I like my racists to be up front. Yeah, shit, you must have been talking about this one. Because this motherfucker is as front as at front as he can be. He was just talking, that was him talking about Jason Whitlock on that particular this is where a lot of people get, this is where a lot of folks get this is what they don't want me to platform, and they don't want me to talk about, they don't want me to share. This is what we ignore, and it's time for us to hear the bloody blood raw truth of what we dealing with here. Let's just let's not get into it. Let's learn. This is the part where you guys are that you should start paying attention right here. Let's go.
It is literally a rot that is killing every American city. Go to downtown Los Angeles. This is not of housing. And the solution is so simple. Police. Cops. But you know why people don't like it? Because it's going to be a lot of cops. They're going to be in black neighborhoods, arresting a lot of black people, and a lot of black people are going to get chased, and some of them are going to die, and many of them are going to jail for a very long time. We're uncomfortable because it's not. We're uncomfortable because we don't like seeing too many black people in prison. I just want to see the people that need to be in prison in prison. I think the police should go where the crime is. If that's in the black neighborhoods, then so be it. If black people are getting arrested for committing crimes, then so be it. We are killing ourselves. We're killing our country because we don't want to be called racist as a society. And that's it. We don't want to be called a racist country for having a lot of black people in jail, for having a lot of cops in black neighborhoods, for having black people get pulled over in a pretextual traffic stop. So we'd rather live like this. We'd rather live with all of this. 18-year-old high school football players getting stabbed in the neck for approaching the wrong person. 23-year-old refugee from a war stabbed in the neck for no reason. Guy in Denver, Colorado, former Space Force officer, 54 years in prison because he snapped and chased the black kids that tried to steal his car 3 times and never got caught. What kind of society do we want to live in? It's a pressing question. Do we want to be too racist and safe, or not racist enough and not have a society? It's that simple. So people are going to have to get a little bit more comfortable with talking about this in racial terms, because that's why we can't solve it. And you want to know how we know that? Because if it was a white person stabbing a black girl, they would be lynching this guy. That's how you know. Because if it was a white person, a white football Chad, stabbing an 18-year-old black kid in a hoodie with his Arizona iced tea and Skittles, they would fucking lynch him. If it was a white person pushing a black person in front of a subway train in New York, they would lynch him. That's how you know it's racial. Because if it was white people doing it as characterized and portrayed on television and in movies, we wouldn't have a problem. Because there would be narratives, there would be policies, it would be called the new KKK, and they would spy on every white person and decimate the criminals. But because they're black, and it's not politically correct, and it's sensitive, we can't chase them, can't charge them, can't lock them away. We can't even talk about it. They won't even cover it. And it's gone on for too long. Too many bodies. And too much insanity. Look at what's become of these. It's depressing. Look at what has happened to Chicago. Beautiful city. Ruined by this. Same with New York, same with LA. LA is one of the most beautiful places in the world. Look at what they've done to it. Because we're afraid of being called racist. I'm the generation I hate my country.
Oh man, this is what we're going to do with. And there's a lot that I don't agree with. But there's a lot that he's saying that we have to pay attention to. We have to own up to. We have to do what we can to fix. And then we also have to counter the bullshit that this motherfucker is stirring up with our bullshit. Him, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, to name a few, they use our bullshit because the whole black community is not bullshit. But a lot of nigga shit is bullshit. It stinks. Nigga shit can be in any ethnicity. It's just the deplorables, right? We've been the deplorables of a certain society for so long that we've made it cool. We've embraced it. And we've turned the word into a term of endearment amongst each other. That's one of those mistakes that we have to own up to, correct, and counter, right? What I mean is people like him on their platform saying the N-word. His people, while they may not give him certain access, while they may not make him visible in some degrees, they still are going to accept him. Or as some call it now, the new word, platform him. And really, you got to ask yourself, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they platform him? Why aren't we, not necessarily saying platform, but why aren't we what they call dartboarding him? I'm thinking about getting to meet myself a dartboard, putting a picture of Nick Fuentes on that motherfucker, even though I'm damn near 20 years his senior. I'm 18 years his senior. But the way he went about moving around with his platform, the way he overcame being canceled by his own people or attempted to be canceled by his people almost every other month, but just steady rises through the bullshit. And I understand, you know, his privilege allows him to do that. But he's looking at it like, boy, them black folks don't know what they got. They got, boy, them black privilege is a motherfucker. I'm finna take that shit away. They don't know what's coming. And I want my people to get ready, man. We got to be prepared. We got to be ready. Because it's motherfuckers like Nick Fuentes that's coming.
It's a word. That's what she said. And yet people are calling for her to be killed for saying a word. It's not a nice word. It's not a pretty word. And it's an offensive thing to say. It's a provocative thing to say. Absolutely. At the same time, we recognize there's a difference between words and actions. People don't deserve to be killed over words or lynched. So predictably, and this is always the excuse, you hear this all the time, a black kid will beat up a white kid, and what will they say? Oh, well, the white kid said the N-word. And people go, oh, well, then that's fine. This happens all the time. Happens with adults. Happens in a bar. People get killed over this. A black person kills a white person, maims a white person. A group of black people beat up a white person. Oh, he said the N-word. And people say, oh, that's okay. Why is that okay? It's a word. And the idea that white people can't say it is, as we know, that is racist. Is there any word that black people can't say? As a matter of fact, is there any rule at all for black people? Because it seems like there isn't.
I'm just laughing because of the fact that if he feels like this, and I'm feeling like how he feels, but on the opposite ends, like there are things that he can do that I can't do. He feels that black people could do certain things that he can't do. Besides dunk a basketball. Besides run a 800-meter dash. 2,000 yards in the season. Christian McCaffrey probably could do that, though. Shout out to K-Mac. I mean, C-Mac. Oh, man. So, again,
it seems like black people, no rules apply to them at all because of slavery and the legacy of Jim Crow or whatever, because of redlining, because they made a horror movie about liberals being racist. Now, they could do whatever the fuck they want. They could be rude. They could be inconsiderate. They could not be punctual. They could be disrespectful. They can be racist. White people have all these rules. All
right, so let's address that. Can black people be rude, inconsiderate, racist?
They could not be punctual.
Not be punctual.
They could be disrespectful. They can be racist.
Disrespectful, racist, without having consequences. Do any of us think that black people can be
liberals being racist? Now, they could do whatever the fuck they want. They could be rude. They could be inconsiderate. They could not be punctual. They could be disrespectful. They can be racist.
Now, these are things that he are categorizing the characteristics of black people. Not punctual, rude, inconsiderate, racist. Well, we have a reason to be racist. We were taught by the masters of racism. I don't think that black people can be racist because to be racist, you have to have something that the other one wants. You have to be able to block, hinder the path of success or resources from another group of people based off of race. We don't really hinder or block or gatekeep any of the resources that Black Americans have contributed. Maybe some of the art, very little, we try to gatekeep, but we can't be the racist. When we are racist, we're doing nothing but mocking and imitating our white neighbors. But this is how he feels, and this is how a lot of people feel. They agree with this young man. And if we continue to ignore the rhetoric and the narratives and the knowledge that they are sharing and distributing in their networks, we won't know what we're dealing with. We won't know the weaknesses. We won't know the strength of our enemy.
White people have all these rules. Don't stand here. Don't talk here. Don't say this. You can't say the N-word. That's a microaggression. That's racist. You're a white savior. You're gentrifying. Now you're white flighting. You know, so we have all these, white people have all these rules we have to play by. All these rules, or else we deserve to be killed. They can punch us in the face. They have a right to be angry. Them, no rules at all.
That's absolutely not true. And it's sad that he has this perspective, because all of the rules that the whites have made have really been pertaining to us, directed to us in our kind. The team that you guys created that will adhere and, keep these rules intact was a team that their first purpose was to corral these slaves, these black people, these, ancestors of black Americans, corral them up, don't let them get away, arrest them, and keep them in servitude. And then when we were emancipated, it's create new laws, create new rules that these black people will break for being black or for trying to survive in this society. So create these new rules that once they break them, we put them right back in servitude. So it's very interesting that he feels this way, that he feels that we don't have any rules. Or maybe that you guys have set so many rules and so many laws and tried to box and guard and gate a group of people, my group of people. You tried to box us in so much that we've got used to living outside of the box or breaking the barrier. That's just, it's an inherent thing. We don't really know when we do it. Just being unorthodox, or just, as they used to say, as they say in skateboarding, being goofy footed. We just, when we see something that we have to, an obstruction, we go through it. We persevere. So, hey, thank you, but not so much, please. And don't get it twisted. We do have rules. While we have a lot of rule breakers in our, diaspora of black, no matter if it's black African or black Dominican or black American, we have a lot of rule breakers. But to say that we are allowed to break the rules because you guys want to break the rule of racism, of human rights, you guys, that's the rule that white people are great at breaking. Human right rules. Let's starve those people. Let's kill those people. Let's burn their homes. Let's take their resources. Let's pillage their land. Let's steal their IP. Let's imitate their culture. Let's mock and use what they do as our entertainment and monetize their existence. That's what your ancestors do. And with a name like Nick Fuentes, that's also very, very confusing with these new Nazis. And Nazi is almost too, it's not even a bad enough word for what we're dealing with here. But these new Americans, it's confusing because they come in so many different forms. You got Cash Patel, whose name is Kashop. But he can't be known as Kashop. Just call me Cash. Nick Fuentes. Sounds Spanish to me, but, you know, out with the immigrants. And you're the real American. America, because you love America and you want America first. Your immigrant class or your parents' immigrant class or your grandparents' immigrant class was okay, but none other than that, no. And the ones that were already here that pretty much built everything and you took all the bullshit and the hard shit from you people, yeah, be jealous of those people receiving anything. Cancel anything if they get over on getting any of it. Let's cancel that completely. If black people were allowed to get presents for Christmas, white folks would, or some white folks would cancel Christmas. I know I'm cooking because I feel it. But Nick Fuentes, I mean, how do we identify? Ted Cruz. What? And then we have the Byron Donalds, because he's not Brian, but he probably could be. And the Tim Scotts. So, you know, there's all kind of different ethnicities that fit this new American mind state. And it doesn't include the most of us. And I don't know if anybody is paying attention, but I'm gonna keep going. I already been platforming Nick Fuentes, so why not keep going? Because some stuff that Nick Fuentes said actually had me intrigued. I actually could say a lot of things that, not a lot, but some of his views towards where they want to take America, I'm like, oh, I can understand why people are going to get behind that. I can see black people getting behind that. I can see men getting behind Nick Fuentes of all ethnicities because of what he thinks that America's future should look like and what we've allowed already for the conservative movement to move in. They're not giving up the space that they have occupied. They ain't going nowhere. So Nick Fuentes had certain views that I thought was interesting on weed. He had views on pornography that I thought was very interesting. But his toxic feminism views, those toxic feminism views, those connected. And they will connect with a lot of black Americans. So black women will be the last on the battlefield to fight for this country. Let me zoom in on myself when I say that, because I got to say that again. Black women will be the last on the battlefield to fight for this country, or what this country was. Because many of the black men, many of us are already on that side for a variety of reasons: self-hatred, misogyny, finances, many different reasons, right? But many more will find themselves on the side of the new Americans, because black men champion outlaws, champion outcasts, champion those who were ousted. Champion anything outside the box because we have had to live a life, made careers, build generations outside of the box. So those like Nick Fuentes, like Donald Trump, like Tucker Carlson, like Candace Owens, like Alex Jones, they were ousted from the establishment. They were kicked out from the people that they were down with. And whenever someone is ousted or outcast or kicked astray, they leave an opportunity for black people to say, hey, what's going on over there with that person? Hey, let me see what's up with him. He might be pretty cool. Folks don't fuck with him. I wonder why. Oh, he get away with breaking some little rules? Oh, he said some shit that was daring and bold. I fuck with that. So yeah, we will grow an affinity for those in society that society deems as bad, that society deems as, don't fuck with these folks. With black men, we like to do the opposite. We like to go against the grain because, again, we've made a lifestyle out of going against the grain. Shout out hip hop. But yeah, so when this boy talks about toxic feminism or monster boy, when he talks about toxic feminism, it connected. And I feel like it's going to connect. And I want the black women, the liberal women, or just women to study, to realize what they're going to be up against when they deal with the new Americans that are going to be led by people like Nick Fuentes.
Actual sex and relationships and marriage, screwed up dating, all of this derives in part from porn, do you think?
I think it's a huge part of it. It's a huge factor. And it's even on the other side too. It's become so destigmatized for women to actually participate in porn. Only people don't even recognize it's an innovation. People want to be a porn star. With it's like having TikTok. Here's my tree. Here's my Instagram. Here's my Facebook. Here's my YouTube and my OnlyFans.
Why would it be legal?
I think that well, there's, like you indicated, maybe intelligence benefit to that. There's political benefit to that. I think that
why wouldn't you arrest people on something like that?
Should, if you got a Christian government.
Or how about just a government cares about people? I mean, Iran a bigger threat? OnlyFans. Iran's not turning my daughters to prostitution that I'm aware of.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the worst things that could happen in any society.
Oh, absolutely.
So how big is the support for that? Like if anyone were to come out and say, we ought to arrest the guys who own MindGeek, which is the biggest, I think it's the biggest porn supplier in the world, or the guys who run OnlyFans, what would the reaction be among, I don't know, people on D?
I think there would be broad support for that.
Really?
I do, actually, yes.
I hope someone will say that. And
someone needs to.
I hope someone arrests them, like right away.
Yeah. That was actually
seizes
one of
their assets and puts them in prison.
Well, seizes their bodies and puts them in jail. Yeah, I mean.
They're not playing around, man. They laughing about this type of stuff and they talking about it casually, but this is how they will move.
The owners of that, people who are, talk about human trafficking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought we were against human trafficking.
Yeah. Well,
so you think that young people, because you always think of young people as so liberal, but no, they wouldn't think that was crazy?
No, I think especially among young men, they know it's a problem. It's ruining their lives. And they know it.
So what are the other factors that prevent, I'm sorry I called you gay, by the way, but I'm always, I think I'm just too old or something. I'm like, why is anyone married? You tell me, why aren't people married?
Well, honestly, it's the women. The women are extremely liberal. No one talks about that. Increasingly they do, especially after the last election. There's a 45-point difference between men and women. The men are extremely conservative, increasingly. The women are extremely liberal.
What are they liberal on? What issues? Like, what does that mean, liberal?
Oh, they're very feminist.
Like, actually?
Extremely feminist, yes.
They don't believe that, do they?
I think they do.
Really?
Absolutely,
How
yes.
could you believe that?
Really?
I think
Gender roles are a
That boy, Tucker Carlson, boy,
construct, that none of this is inborn.
he just so white. He just like the way everything about him. They sitting in a log cabin. Like you said, he wearing his bullshit ass white boy prep shirt with his butthead haircut. You know, he got his bookshelf in the back. Gonna have a flag
Like,
somewhere in
you'd
the
have
back.
to be an idiot to think that.
they like the idea of it. They like because of course I think all women naturally want strong men.
Of course, obviously.
They naturally want a Chad. You know,
Yeah.
they want like a tall, buff guy. But I think they like the idea of none of them want to work either. None of them
That's what
actually
I'm
want
saying.
to work.
No, that's what I'm saying. Of course,
Right.
It's obviously true. It's always been true. Work outside the home.
Right.
They don't have enough work at home. You know,
Yes.
there's a lot to do. But no, I completely agree. So that's why I question, like, they're feminists in what sense?
Yes. And, you know, they like these vague appeals to equality. We want a chance to work and we want respect. And, you know, ultimately, I think the whole political system is just based around women never being accountable for any of their choices. Ultimately, that seems to be that's what abortion is,
Yeah, of course.
because 99% of abortions are elective. So they say it's an unplanned pregnancy. You had sex out of wedlock with someone you didn't intend to have kids with. So now we have to kill the kids in the womb.
Hello.
And, you know, these no-fault divorce laws. These women get married to guys maybe they never intend to stay with. And then when they're out, they're done. And they want child support and they want half the stuff. And I think a lot of men are looking at women and they're very liberal. They're overweight. They have a very high estimation of themselves. I think that people call it hoflation.
Inflation?
Yes, their sense of their own looks and sexual value is very inflated.
I mean, man.
Hello.
Hey, so look, women. What I said earlier. Not only should you not be outraged for this information that you're being privied and shared, and maybe being it's being thrown in your face. Y'all have to figure out how to correct and counter the sentiments that this young man is sharing, because he cooking. And white women will assimilate and align and submit. It ain't a lot of them. A lot of them that won't. But these guys like him, they still find wives, but on their terms. And black men, we have to more so compromise more with our counterparts. But this is the type of respect and power that we want in our homes. And that's why black men look up to black conservatism. To conservatism. That's why we have black conservatism, because black men want to be respected by their significant others.
And so a lot of people are looking at these like frumpy, obnoxious, loudmouth, liberal women who are also very promiscuous and saying this is not actually appealing at all. And I don't want to start a family with a person
Sounds
like
awful.
this. Yeah, it is.
He said, sounds awful.
But if you believe in the patriarchy, as I fervently do, because it's just reality, we didn't choose the system. We were born into a system that is part of nature, can't get out of it. So if you believe that that's true, which it is, then you think that men should lead. And if it's going to be better, men should make it better because that's their job.
Right.
So you don't want to give them a pass, do you? I'd be like, it's all the girls suck. So
I don't even blame it on the women, because I think that it's the incentive structures. You know, women are allowed to do this by the legal system, by kind of social norms. Technology is a big part of it. The attention that is available to women. Women go on Instagram and they get attention from thousands of men.
And it's going to be hard for them to relinquish that attention. It's going to be hard for women to understand their new role in the new society. It's going to be hard for black women to understand that they should be the Trojan horse for black men to advance. But if they don't side and work with the black men, then our entire diaspora dies. We lose everything. If we don't figure it out and fast, we are doomed. And it's already, most of us already agree that we don't want to save any of the motherfuckers that don't get it.
So it's the incentives. But I would say that, because I hear this all the time, people say, well, the men need to step up and be better and lead the women. Easier said than done.
I of course, I agree with that.
They're at war with the system, and not even just the system, but also society. Because let's say you find one of these so-called good girls who's Christian and traditional, but through osmosis, wherever you go, she's going to be in society. She's going to be on TikTok. She's going to be on Instagram. She's going to be talking to other women. And maybe she's one way when you meet and get married, but 10 years down the road, 15 years, 20 years down the road, people change. And I think that women, as kind of the ultimate conformists, the ultimate enforcers of like social norms, I think eventually the pressure from society kind of gets to them, and a lot of them will go in a different
Depends what kind of
direction.
husbands they have. I mean, if there's real leadership at home, I don't know a single happily married woman who's liberal. Not one.
And that is another one of those things, or one of those key points. That's the difference out of the relationships that white men have to deal with and the relationships that black men have to deal with. That's the difference out of married women and unmarried women. Submission, independence, conservatism, liberal. And all of this talk, this whole interview, right? This whole narrative, this new society that they are working on. It got me to thinking, what the fuck is liberal anyway? What the hell is conservatism? What the hell is liberal? What the fudge does any of this really, really mean anyway? Right? So, from different perspectives, it can mean different things. On the government's perspective, conservatives mean they favor limited government, less intervention in the economy. But I can't tell, because it seems like the government hasn't been too limited in the last two conservative administrations. Less intervention with the economy? So you mean to tell me that you guys believe in, did you supposed to not intervene with what's going on? Okay. So liberals believe they support government action to address social problems and ensure equality. Yeah, equality. But liberals, do you guys really know what equality is? Are you really want me to believe that y'all are going to really give up privilege for equality? Why would you do that? I guess because you're liberal. I guess. I don't really believe that people would give up the privilege that they have for equality, because that means let us get them 400 years, big dog. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and fetch my damn slippers for 400 years, big dog. All right, 200. Let me rape and pillage your people for 200 years. Equality. Anyway, move forward. Defeat the change. Conservatives tend to resist change, preferring the status quo. And that seems to be great when the status quo is beneficial for you and your people for generations. Why would you want to change it, right? But then that's the thing that makes being a black conservative very, very odd to me. Because if you're a black conservative and you have resistance to change, and you want to go back, don't you? You want to go back to the old plantation. Okay, I get it. While liberals seem to be more open to change and social progress, and that's why I kind of agree with them, especially when you're an American. Change don't seem to be that bad, except you liberals seem to want to change everything and make your people uncomfortable. First, you want to change some, cultures. Then you want to change some values and morals. Then you want to change some laws. Then you guys wanted to change some genders. Then you guys wanted to change some religions. And then, certain laws that you wanted to change, people that don't want to change, they're not going to let you change. And so then we have an issue. And we have them calling you radicals, radical liberals. They really just mean black people when they say radical liberals, or people who help black people. Anyway, core values. The core values of a conservative: to emphasize personal responsibility, individual liberty, and traditional values. That traditional values means slavery, apartheid, slavery, Jim Crow. All of those are traditional values in the white established society. We want tradition. We were in control. You listened to us and only knew what we told you. Tradition. While the liberals, they seem to prioritize equality, or a fake sense of it, social justice and civil liberties for all, or most, or our, not all, just our. Civil liberties for our. That's better, I think. The moral focus seems that the Republicans, the conservatives, they stress loyalty. They strong on that too. Loyalty, authority, sanctity, binding values, authority. That's why they think that they are the supervisors and the police of every and anything. All the people. We are the police and supervisors, and we must tell you how to be and what to do. And you must stay loyal to us, even when we do bullshit to you. Loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, Tatum. Loyal. Be loyal. Liberals, on the other hand, they seem to focus on harm and fairness. Who's being harmed? Let's end that. Let's be fair now. Give some to him, give some to Johnny and Susan, and give a little to Jamal too. He's a little hungry over there. Don't let Jamal have some. Some, not all. Prioritize the equality and civil liberties for our, and sometimes all, depending on what it is. We'll share some of it. In the psychology, conservatives may show higher threat to sensitivity and tend to see it as weak, and a greater need for structured worldview. We want everybody to be like us. Assimilate or be dominated, or both. Be conservative. While the morals of a liberal may be more sensitive and to a wider range of threats, including social ones, and adapt more readily to change. So whatever that means to you guys, that's kind of the breakdown. Conservative versus liberal. So conservatives typically advocate for lower taxes and free markets, believing individuals can best solve their own problems. Liberals are more likely to support government spending on social programs to reduce inequality and alleviate poverty. Okay? Social issues liberals tend to support are those like liberals tend to support government intervention to guarantee equal opportunity, protect civil liberties, and protect against discrimination. Conservatives often believe that individual freedoms are best safeguarded by limiting the government's role, except for in 2025. When the government's run by Trump, then they want all power to the government. All of it. Ultimate power. Absolute power even. Allowing people to pursue their own goals and minimize interference. Minimal interference, but that's just cap. Threat sensitivity. Research suggests conservatives may be more sensitive to physical threats, which can lead them to favor security measures. When they say the party of law and order, what I'm saying? They love the police. What I'm saying? They love tyranny. Crush those perverse people over there suffering for poverty. How dare them? They're being lazy. In more traditional social order, liberals may show more sensitivity to threats related to social injustices, leading to a greater focus on issues like microaggressions and the needs of minority groups. So, all that to say, when Trump says radical liberals, he means black people and anybody who wants to help the black people. And if you are those that do help black people or sympathize for their kind and their cause, then you're either going to be called a race baiter, a black sympathizer, or Thai music. And I'm going to end this first half with one of my favorite Instagram pages, Thai music. He does such a great job fighting for equality, real equality. Right? No, it's TYC Music #2. So yeah, I'm gonna get into a couple of clips from TYC Music #2. We're gonna end this part of the stream. I don't know. I guess I just kind of went on a wild tangent here of political alignment, and I wanted to educate and inform my people on what we are up against, the future of the new American and the mindset of how they're thinking and what they're going to do. The best part of the entire interview with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson is his ideal of the future of America and what he thought of Trump and people like Kanye.
There's security. We're not they man you so you your life in terms of deficit when are very impotent. There are two positive giving their opinion, always critiquing, always boring. I think it's to be very
Says in a happy marriage, although people single they deserve love ways by serving each other. It's like free. And that you don't money like years.
That's just life, man. Who deals with those kind of problems? My lady just falls in line. The vision was the important part of the interview.
Media snapped its thread to mud. Job ice. They're counting just 100,000 liberals not talking celebrated in this country. Where are we in 5 years?
Not anywhere good. I'm really concerned, and I'm not one of these doomsday sayers. You know, there's a lot of people that forever, you know, the sky's falling every day. But I really feel like the thing that concerned me the most, it's the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Seemed like we crossed a Rubicon there because he's just a conservative guy, relatively moderate, expressing his opinions. He's not the president. He's not a politician. And it wasn't just that he got shot.
It was that he was a racist and he was a jerk. And he may not have been a racist in his whole core, but he worked for racists and on the behalf of a racist agenda.
It was what happened afterward, which is that 100,000 liberals went on TikTok and celebrated. And that shows that how can you integrate or harmonize with people that hate you that much? They see some, you know, and I understand that liberals thought he was a jerk. Like maybe he was a little rude or something like that.
No, he was more than rude. And to you, and this is the thing about how evil this monster boy is. He sees racism as just being rude. He's seeing tyranny as manifest destiny. It's our right, our fate to be in control.
And he really wasn't. I mean, he was pretty patient as they come.
I just tried to fill in for him last week and immediately snapped at some kid and threatened to beat him up and went crazy. And I had said a prayer for patience, by the way, and I still couldn't handle it. So, Charlie Kirk was a remarkably even-keeled, patient, decent man.
And this is how they see him. And it's a direct opposite of how many of us understood what the narrative that Charlie Kirk pushed.
Yes. And yeah, so whatever their perception of him was, to see him get his face blown up in front of everybody like that, and the first reaction of someone in the crowd who was present, some guy with a beard jumps up and celebrates. Did you see this?
No.
Some liberal kid in the audience jumps up and says, "All right."
I literally can't handle it. I'm so upset by it. I haven't looked at anything.
It's disgusting. And I saw that and said, yeah, like there's no putting the genie back in the lamp here. That was one. The other thing I'm really worried about is what's happening at these ICE detention centers, where it's happening not far from where I live in Broadview, Illinois, where they set up an ICE detention facility, and the administration is rounding these people up, which I support, but they're doing it in a very provocative way. They're broadcasting it. They're making hype edits on Twitter of like these raids on apartment complexes, which I think are very cool, but it's somewhat provocative. And Antifa showing up. In order to protect ICE, the administration's putting DHS. Well, now they're protesting the DHS presence, and the administration of the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago are telling Chicago police, don't help ICE. And they're encouraging the protesters. And what I see there is like a level of tension that just keeps increasing.
Yes.
And there's leadership. There's civilian leadership on both sides. Like the governor and mayor, who are Democrats, won't back down versus a Republican president. There's a security division too, the police versus ICE, the police versus DHS. There's a constitutional question about the federal supremacy, you know, and I see all the ingredients of like a low boil civil conflict, full blown civil war. And I'm not that guy, but I see all the ingredients there for that to happen. So I'm deeply concerned about where that will go.
How would you handle it if you were in charge?
Here we go. This is the most important part of their interview and why I can't help but be alarmed for what this guy once he receives power, especially, God forbid, if he becomes the president of the country, it's the problem right here. And for today's show,
What do you do?
I think it's controversial, but you have to crush the other. You can do one and two things. You cannot challenge the left and let them do their thing, or you can utterly confront them, defeat them, and remove hope from the equation. If you resist, you'll be like, this is an insurrection. There's 10 million people here illegally. We're getting them out. You're going to jail too. Like, it has to be crushed. But if you do anything less than that, if you do in the middle, all you're doing is antagonizing and feeding the other side. And if they think there's a chance they can win, they will get bolder and stronger, and they'll start to rally. And that's when it's sort of like people think it's close or like it's contentious. That's when it breathes. That's when oxygen is fed to this kind of fire. So if I were Trump, I would say screw 200 National Guard, like arrest the mayor of Chicago, like arrest the governor. Shut it down, like make it clear, like Washington, bring in the troops and say the federal government is supreme. The immigration law is the law of the land. If you're not on board with that, you're going to jail. If you attack ICE or box them in with your car, you're going to jail for a long time. Anything less than that, you might as well just not even bark up that tree at all.
Nick Fuentes.
We're in trouble. We in motherfucking trouble, man. So again, I've contemplated whether or not how I would talk about this subject. I wanted to be able to playfully introduce it, and I didn't get to that part of the show. We kind of skipped all of that, and we kind of just got right to it. And I think that this felt good today, even though I didn't talk about new music. I didn't talk about most of the things that I planned to talk about here today. Cameron versus J. Cole, and the Alicia Andrews trial, and Erica and Kirk and J.D. Vance, you know what I'm saying, looking like they may be a future couple. All of that stuff is very important. You know what I'm saying? A lot of folks are losing their job. The government is shut down. You know what I'm saying? We don't know whether or not we're going to have SNAP benefits for the holiday season of all times. And they feel like even the SNAP benefits, dangling SNAP benefits and policies like a carrot is, effective to hurt the black community. That's what they think they're really hurting, but they're hurting America as a whole and the economy. So we had to have this conservative versus liberal conversation, and the new American versus the old regime conversation. And this is going to be the main topic for the rest of this administration's term. So the golden era of Trump, we're going to be talking about the new American regime and what it looks like, and whether or not we will continue to participate, and how that looks like. So thank you, everybody, for support. Willie Goodner.
Thank you very much.
Everybody checked in. OG Love, TC, Tobias Tate, T-Max, Optimistic, TDB, Double R, 1031, Ashley Marie. Happy Halloween to everybody. We'll come back and do a part 2. Or part 3, 4, whatever it is. The next part of the DOZHATOLDYA podcast, 164, we're going to have a lot of fun. I just needed to address the monsters of the new American society. And Nick Fuentes, the monster boy. I think we should look out for this one. So, I'll see you guys next time, man. I appreciate it. Let's get out of here with Glocks up, man. Put your motherfucking Glocks in the air, man. Let's get it.
I'm going to call it kissing. Ooh.
You're listening to DOZHATOLDYA Radio.
Huh? Ooh. Glocks up. Glocks up. Glocks up. Oh. Getting Glocks up. Whoa. Y'all Glocks up. Kissing all these hands down. Hands tops up. Backwood.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Dame Doja. If you're looking to get your interview done or be a guest host on our podcast, hit us up at dozhatoldyapodcast@gmail.com. Bump what you heard. Remember who told you? It's Doja Told You.